Call is now being recorded.
Kalyan Kumar, let's start the class.
Yes, ma'am, we can start the class, ma'am.
Okay.
But
Let me start. Okay, just refreshing and then I will go to the topic. Okay. So good afternoon, students and faculty also. So we have seen the 8086 data transfer instructions, arithmetic instruction, logical instruction, shift and rotate instruction. Then we have the branch instruction, loop instruction, string manipulating instruction, flag manipulating instructions. So the remaining instructions, stack related input output machine control instructions, we are going to see today. Okay, so just let's refresh here. So suppose if you want to transfer the data from one memory location to another memory location, for example, let us take here from 41,000, I am going to transfer the data to 52,000. Okay, so what is the data in that source address is transferred to AL register. It is nothing but accumulator, and then that data is transferred to this location, destination. Okay, so here how to write the program is, since I'm going to transfer 3 sets of data, so I'm having a counter value 3 in CX register, and BX register is initialized with the source offset value 1000. So here 1000 here, and DX register is loaded with the value 2000, which is the offset value of the destination 2000. All right. So the third and fourth instruction is, what I'm doing is data in this BX is transferred to AL. Data in BX is transferred to AL. That is here the AAB is transferred to AL. Now the data is available in AL register. So next one, what I'm going to do is AL is transferred to the destination. So from this, I'm transferring to this AB. Okay. So the first data is transferred. So next is I'm incrementing the source offset value. And next one is I'm incrementing the destination offset value. And then I'm decrementing the counter until it is not 0. Until 0, I'm repeating this process. Kalyan Kumar, can you switch off your mic? Some disturbance is there. Kalyan Kumar. Okay, thank you. So decrement CX, and until if it is not 0, we are repeating this process. Okay. So here, this is the debugging here. So the same program I have copied here. The first one is AL is brought to, that is AB is brought to the accumulator AL, and it is transferred to memory. Okay. After the execution of this, the memory will be like this. In 52,000, we'll get the data AB. So second step is we are incrementing the BX register, DX register, and then we are decrementing the CX register. Okay. And the next is the data CL is brought to AL register, and then it is transferred to memory. Okay. So like this, the third data EF is brought to accumulator, and this transferred to this memory location. So after executing this program, the content of 41,000 to 41,002 and 52,000 and 50,002 will be the same. Okay. So this is by using move instruction, just we are transferring the data from one location to another location. So let's see how we are doing it by the string instruction, move string byte. I have explained earlier this program, move string byte means moving the data from one memory location to another. Here, the condition is instead of using this BX register, this must be a source index register. Okay. So SI must contain the source address, and DI must contain the destination index register must contain the destination offset. So clear direction flag, CLD is clear direction flag. It is used to fetch the second data. That is whether we are going to increment the address and fetching the data, or decrementing the address and fetching the data. So move string byte will automatically move the data from one location to another. Okay. So next one is here we are decrementing the counter. It is not 0. So again, we are repeating this process. So this program will be repeated 3 times. Okay. So see here, this 4 instruction in the first program is replaced by only 2 instruction by using the string manipulation instruction. Okay. And next is here, load instruction. So this instruction is used to load the data from memory. So first here, the condition also here, SI must be the offset value 1000. And initially the AL register is 00. Okay. And in this memory location in 41,000, we are getting the data AB, CD, and EF. So load string byte is from the memory location, the data is transferred to accumulator. So here the data transfer is between memory and accumulator only, no other registers. Okay. So like this here, if I want to do some 100 data to be transferred means I have to use this clear instruction, CLD instruction. So that is first, it will fetch the data from 4100. So AB is transferred to this AL register. Okay. So next is, since I have used the CLD, so this address will be incremented. So the next data available in that memory location, that is CD, will be transferred to this accumulator. Okay. So suppose if you write this as a counter program by a loop program, so nearly 1000 or n number of data can be transferred from the memory location to the accumulator for processing. So the same process here, store string bytes. So from AL, the content can be transferred to the memory location. Okay. So here, same thing here. I have used the CLD instruction, clear the direction flag. So the content of first, initially the content of accumulator is FF. So that is transferred to this memory location. So since again I'm using this STOSB, store string byte. So here the content now it is 01. So that is transferred to the memory location. Okay. So here the main condition is load string byte and store string byte. The data will be transferred to the accumulator only. Okay. And here this is compare instruction. So this instruction is used to compare one set of data with another set of data that is referred as by source index register and destination index register. And scan instruction is the data in the accumulator will be scanned in a group of memory, whether that data is available in that memory. Okay. Scan instruction. So next one is the flag manipulation instruction. STC set the carry bit, clear the carry bit. CMC is complement the carry bit. STD is set the direction flag. CLD is clear the direction flag. STI is set the interrupt flag, and CLI is clear the interrupt flag. And to load the flag register into AH, we can use this LAHF, and this is store the AH register into the flag. Okay, so these are the portions already we have seen in the previous class. So now let's go to the stack manipulated related instruction. Okay, so as we all know, stack is a memory location in which we can push the data. Two operations can be performed in the stack, push and pop, right? So pushing is pushing the data into the stack, and popping is retrieving the data from this. So very important thing involved in this is SP, stack pointer, which refers the top of the stack. Okay. Here 16-bit data will be transferred to the stack memory. So here let us take this. I'm having this BHS 55 and BLS 44, and together this register is called as BX. Okay. So I am writing here push BX. So the content of this will be pushed into the stack. See here, initially the stack pointer will be in 40,006. So here the stack pointer will be decremented and the data will be pushed into the stack. And after pushing the data, the stack pointer will be 40,003. So normally when you write in the high level language stack day operations at push and pop, you'll be writing as top is equal to top plus 1. I do hope that you do remember that top is equal to top plus 1. But internally what it performs is subtraction operations form. That is the stack pointer will be decremented. So here 16-bit data are transferred to the memory location. Okay, 16 bits can be transferred. And here pop instruction is to retrieve the data from the stack memory. So whatever register it is referred here, whether it is BX or CX or DX or AH, the data from the top of the stack will be popped to this register. Okay. So initially we have DH and DL as 0000, and I'm going to use this pop DX. So the top of the stack is here for 40,003, and the address will be, that is the SP will be incremented. Okay. So it becomes 40,004 and 40,005. Data from these two locations will be transferred to DH and DL register. So after popping the data, the stack pointer will point to this 40,005. Okay. So these are the two main instructions for stack related instruction, push and pop, as we all know that. So next one is, so to see the content of the flag register, there is no instruction. For this, we have this push F register. So what it is, push F means the content of flag, that is a 16-bit value, will be pushed into the stack. Okay. So I'm writing here push F, and let us take an example. The flag register content is FF. So that will be pushed into the stack, right? So like this, if you want to get the data to the flag register, we are using this popf instruction. So this is the stack content 0101. So after execution of this instruction popf, the content of flag register will be 0101, right? And here input and output instructions. So these instructions are used to transfer the data to the output devices. Okay. So in and out instructions are used to transfer the data to the output devices. So every devices will have a port address. Okay, port address. So here sometimes we have a keyboard, it will be having a port address. Monitor, it will be having a port address. Every device will be having an address. So we have to refer this address here. So for example, here they have written the in instruction. It is used to read the data from the input device. Okay, to read the data from the input device. So let us take the device address of the keyboard is 34. Okay, so here from this input device through this port that is referred as 34, the data will be transferred to accumulator. So here the data input and output instruction, the data will be transferred only to the accumulator, not any other registers. Okay. So data transfer is between the input device and the accumulator only. If it is an 8-bit means the data will be transferred to AL, or 16-bit means AX. This is a in instruction. And when you take this out instruction, this is used to transfer the data to the output device. Again, I have the syntax is out 36, the port that is AL, and here this content of AL is transferred to the output device through this port 36. Okay, so here also the data from the accumulator only will be transferred to the output device. So suppose if you are having a data in BX register and that is to be transferred to the output device means, so first is we have to transfer the data from BX to AX, and then we have to transfer that to the output device. Okay. So last one is the machine control instruction. The wait instruction is used for this. Suppose we can make the processor to wait for some time if the data is not available. So for that we can use this. And halt is to halt the process, you know that. No operation instruction. Escape instruction is used to control the numeric data processor. As I said earlier, 8086 can act in maximum mode. That is to the main processor. Many processors can be attached to that. Okay, that is 8087. It is a co-processor which is used to perform mathematical operation, and it can be attached with 8089 is an IO processor which is used to control all the IO devices. So for this escape instruction, and log signal is used to control the buses. Okay. So let's see the programs here. So I have given this example for you, not as an assignment, but till now, no student have submitted this. Anyway, let's see these programs here. So I'm going to multiply three data, 01 into 02 into 03. Okay. So what are the first steps? First one is input, second one is processing, and third one is output. Okay. First one is I'm making all this data available in the registers. Let me take it as AL01. BL is the second S. Hello? So BL is 02 and BH is 03. Okay. So all the data are made available in the registers. And now I'm going to multiply AL into BL. So let me take this one. So AL is 01, BL is 02, and BH is 03. Now I am multiplying AL into BL. So 01 and 02 will be multiplied, and the result will be available in the accumulator AL register. Okay. Since I'm doing 8-bit multiplication, I'm selecting only AL. Right. So next one is I'm multiplying the AL and BH. That is the multiplying the output of A01 and 02 is available in accumulator. So that is multiplied with the third data 03. So I am getting 06. Right. So now the result is available in AH and AL register. So the result is transferred to this offset memory address. Got it? Okay. So next program is division of 16-bit data, that is 0008 divided by 0004. So whenever we refer the registers, first you have to see what type of data it is. It is whether it is a 16-bit data or 8-bit data. So here we are going to divide 16-bit data. So I'm taking this AX register. Okay, AX is 0008 and BX is 0004. And directly we can divide this. Okay, one data for division instruction, the condition is one data must be in accumulator and other data can be in any other registers. So one data in accumulator, another data in BX register. So divide BX. Okay. So result will be available in AX register. That is AX register will give the quotient and DX register will give the remainder. I'm storing this quotient and remainder into this memory location. Okay. So next one, the next program is adding 3 data from the memory location starting from 2000. So let us take this example here. That is 40,200. We are having the data 01, 02 and 03. Okay. So here I'm initializing the offset value BX as 2000. Second one is I'm initializing. So next let's come here. I'm going to use the add instruction directly. The content of BX will be added with AL. Okay. So suppose why I'm clearing this accumulator 00 means suppose if AL contains any other data previously, so that data will be added with the first data. So that will give a wrong output. So I'm clearing the accumulator. Okay, AL is 00. Then the first data in this memory location is added with the accumulator. So let's see a table here. So AL is 00 and BX is 2000. Okay. The first data 00 is added with first data. So we get 01. So this process is over. Next one is I'm increment the BX register. So BX register becomes 2001. And next again, I'm adding the data in that to AL. Okay. So already AL contains 01. To that, the second data is added 02. So we get the output 03 that is available there. So again, I'm incrementing the BX register. So BX becomes 2002 and add AL BX. So 03 is the previous answer available in AL register. That is added with the data in the memory. So we get 06. That's all. So suppose if it is 3 data, it's okay. So this 3, 6, 7, 8 lines of program is over. Suppose if you want to add n number of data, we cannot repeat this process. No, the process repeated is add AL, increment BX. These are 2 instructions repeatedly coming here. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to have a counter value. Let's see here. CL is put in there is a number of times we are going to repeat this process is available in the CL register. BX is initialized as 2000 and AL as 00. Add AL comma BX. The first data will be added with the accumulator. Then increment BX. Then since we have a counter, I'm decrementing this and I'm checking whether it is not 0. If it is not 0, I'm repeating this process. Okay. The process to be repeated is getting the data from memory and adding that, and we are incrementing the memory location. Okay. So let's see this is a program here. So this is the process repeated, add AL comma BX and increment BX. So as we are going for n number of data, this slight change here. So these 2 instructions are replaced by a counter here. This one, we have a counter value and then we are decrementing CL. And if it is not 0, we are repeating this process. Hope you understand. Any answers in the chat box, please? Are you able to follow? Okay, fine. So next one is adding the data 01, 02, 03, 04, 05. This is also an assignment program, I think so. So what is this? We are making the data available in the registers. Okay. So AL is 01, BL 02, BH 03, CL 04, and CH. Since there are 5 data, I'm using 5 registers. Okay. What is the first step is add AL comma BL. So 01 will be added with the content of BL. So 0, 1 plus 0, 2 equal to 0, 3. Okay. So next one is add AL comma BH. So BH is added here. So we get the answer 0, 6. Next is add AL comma CL. So 0, 4 is added here and the result will be 0, A. And next is add AL comma CH. So CH is added and the result is 0, F. So that will be transferred to this memory. Again, the same problem here. Suppose if there are n number of data to be added means, so we have to use the loop statement. Okay, we have to put the n in a counter register CX or CL, and then we have to repeat that process until the counter values become 0. Okay. So since this is a series, 1 plus 2 plus 3, so the increment value is by 1. So the same program can be replaced by another program. See here, this one. So move AL comma 0, 0. So BL is the initial value 0, 1. Okay. BL is the initial value 0, 1. And CL contains the number of n. N is 5 data we are going to add, so 0, 5. So add AL comma BL, increment BL. Because what is the second data I have to add? 0, 2. So I've just changed in the same program. So increment BL. So now BL becomes 0, 2 and that will be added to this. Okay. So next what the process will be repeated. So BL will be incremented 0, 3 and that is added here. And BL is incremented 0, 4, that is added. And next again BL is incremented, so we get 0, 5. Since it is a series of data, that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Okay, it is incremented by 1. So we can write the program like this also. Okay, so that's all about all the instructions. So this is the to data transfer instruction. We have move instruction, exchange instruction, load effective address, sorry, LDS, okay, load data segment, load extra segment, push instruction, pop instruction, in instruction, and out instruction is used to transfer the data between accumulator and the devices. Okay. So next one, arithmetic instruction, we have add C, add along with carry, subtract with borrow. Next one, decrement, increment instruction. So decimal adjust accumulator, decimal adjust for subtraction, ASCII adjust for addition, AASS, ASCII adjust for subtraction, ASCII adjust for multiplication, ASCII adjust for division, and convert byte to word and convert word to double word. That is 16 bit will be converted into 32 bit. And the logical instructions are we have AND, OR, exclusive OR, NOT instruction. Negate instruction is used to find the 2's complement, and compare instruction and test instruction. Okay. Next one is rotate and shift. We have rotate left, rotate right. RCL is rotate left through carry. RCR is rotate right through carry. SAL is shift arithmetic left and logical left. Shift arithmetic right, logical right, and shift arithmetic right. The flag instructions we have STD, set the carry flag, complement the carry, set the direction, clear the direction flag, set the interrupt, clear the interrupt, load the AH register and store the AH register into the flag. And the machine control instructions we have wait, halt, NOP, escape instruction and lock instruction. And the branch instructions we have jump above, jump not below and equal, jump below, jump carry, not above and equal. So these are the branch instructions we have. And loop instructions we have loop equal, loop 0, not equal, not 0. Okay. So the string manipulation instructions we have move string byte, and move string word, load string byte, load string word, store string byte, store string word, and compare, scan, and repeat the instructions. Okay. So these are the group of instructions available in 8086 processor. And we have seen some simple programs. So in your lab, you'll be having this ascending order, finding the largest number, smallest number, whatever the programs, whatever you do in high level language, all the programs can be written in assembly language, right? So this is the first unit we have, introduction to ACES. So all these topics are over. And set the topics to be completed is assembler directives, modular programming, linking and relocations, tax procedures, and macros. These are the 4 topics. So let me continue with this topic, interrupts and interrupt service routine. Okay. So interrupt and interrupt service routine. So you know what is an interrupt. So what interrupt means, the process of interrupting the normal program execution to carry out a specific task. Okay. So suppose if you're sleeping and if there is a bell sound, someone is calling. So what you have to do is, what you'll be doing is, you have to have to open the door and you have to answer to that person, and then you can continue the sleeping process. That is okay. So like this, in the program here, we have a main program execution. So if an interrupt comes here, so it will be handling that interrupt, and after completing the task in that interrupt, we can go to the main program. Okay, I think you understood this. What is an interrupt? So this is the running the program in executing. So here an interrupt comes here. So we are passing that interrupt. So what you are doing is, again, if you're assuming, you have to come to the main program after completing that interrupt process, no? So what we are doing is, we are saving the program state in the stack. Okay. So in the stack, all the program counter value and status of the registers till this will be stored in this stack. And now the control transfers to this interrupt processing program. And after completing this, you have to come to the main program. That is, we have to resume it. How we are resuming is, already the data are stored in the stack. From this, we are getting all the values and we are resuming the data. Okay. So this is the main program. So another one example here. So here this instruction, while we are executing instruction 3, we are getting an interrupt. So the control transfers to this interrupt service routine. And after execution of this, the control will transfer to the main program. Okay. So when you call this interrupt service routine, so this is a program that is used to perform a task. Okay. So the last line of the interrupt service routine must be an I return instruction. That is I interrupt. Return from this. After executing this instruction only, the control will transfer to the main program. Right. So what are vector addresses? The starting address of the interrupt service routine. The starting address of the interrupt service routine is called as vector address. So all this vector address will be available in the vector table in 8086 processor, and you have to fetch the vector address from the table for execution. Okay, you got it? So interrupt service routine is nothing but a program to be executed. The last line of the interrupt service routine must be an IRET instruction. So after executing this only, the control will transfer to the main program. So suppose if there is no IReturn instruction, the control will not be transferred to the main program. And vector address is nothing but the starting address of the interrupt service routine. Okay. So we are having several interrupts here. There is 256 interrupts are available in 8086 processor. So all the vector address of the 256 interrupts will be available in the vector table. See here. So this is the types of interrupts. So we have hardware interrupts and software interrupts. So hardware interrupts are nothing but the interrupts from the hardware devices, that is keyboard, mouse, like that. Software interrupts are the programs, okay? So here again, the interrupts are divided into maskable interrupt and non-maskable interrupt. So maskable interrupt means we can make the interrupt to wait. Okay, for example, you're sleeping and your mother is asking to wake up means, so it is your wish now whether to wake up or not. So your mother can be made wait. That is maskable interrupt. Got it? Okay, maskable means you can make the interrupt to wait or wait. Non-maskable means, so that is not possible here. At once we have to give the response. Non-maskable interrupt means, so there is no waits here. Whenever there is a non-maskable interrupts, at once we have to give a response. For example, suppose I am taking a class here, and if there is a call from the higher officials, okay, let me take the class, I am taking the class and there is a call from principal. So principal is there in the door means I have to answer him immediately, right? I cannot make him to wait, right? So this is an example for non-maskable interrupt, okay? So maskable interrupt means we can make the interrupt to wait, and non-maskable is we cannot make it wait. At once we have to give the response. And in software interrupts, we have 256 types of software interrupts. That is 0 to 255. This total we have 256 types of software interrupts. Okay. So these are the hardware interrupts. The hardware interrupts from the keyboard, mouse, hard disk, floppy disk, DVD drive, etc. So these are the hardware interrupts, the interrupts from the hardware devices. Okay. This is the maskable interrupts derivation. Maskable interrupts is you can make the interrupt to wait, or we can reject that interrupt also. The non-maskable is we have to accept it and it cannot be rejected, and it at once we have to give the response. Software interrupt, as I told here, we have 256 interrupts. That is, the instruction for software interrupt is here INTN. So N is equal to 0 to 255. So we have 256 interrupts. Okay. So in this first one, type 0 to 4 are defined as predefined interrupts. Type 0 is division by 0. You know that, no? While you're executing the high-level language, you'll be having an error. That is the division by 0. Type 1 is single step. That is, as I said earlier, tracing the program in C-level language, we can press the F7 key. So that type of interrupt is type 1. And type 2 is non-maskable interrupt. And type 3 is breakpoint interrupt. That is, in some MATLABs, we have this breakpoint interrupt. That is, instead of, while you are debugging the program, instead of executing the whole program, we can set a breakpoint. That is, if you have two for loop means, so the for loop can be set as the starting point and the end point, and that can be executed, and we can easily debug the program. That is breakpoint interrupt. So type 4 is interrupt on overflow. If there is overflow occurs, this will be used. This interrupt service routine will be used. Then type 5 to 31 is reserved for future use. And type 32 to 255, it is user defined interrupts. So we can use it, okay. So this is the interrupt vector table. So we have the table here. Okay. So table here. So this is the memory in which the interrupt vector table is stored here. Let's see the first one. So whenever we want to transfer to a memory, so we need a 20-bit address. So the IP will be 16-bit and CS will be 16-bit. So this value will be stored in the, for example, let us take here, this is a formula to find out the vector address. The vector address is nothing but the starting address of the interrupt service routine. IP can be, IP will be available in this memory location, okay, n into 4, and the content of CS will be available in n into 4 plus 2. So let's see, for example, n is equal to 2. So what is the IP value? So 2 into 4, that is 0008. See here, see this arrow mark. So here, IP is equal to, that is the address 0008 contains the IP value for interrupt 2. Okay, like this. Next one is CS is calculated by using this formula n into 4 plus 2. So we get 0008. So in 0008, the CS value will be available. Okay, so we have to get the CS value and IP value. From this, we have to calculate the vector address. What it is? CS must be shifted 4 times towards left, and we have to add the instruction pointer value. So we get a 20-bit physical address. That is nothing but the vector address of the interrupt n. You got it? Understood? Or let me want to explain again. So interrupt vector table is used to store all the vector addresses. From this only we can retrieve the vector addresses. Okay. So vector address or nothing but the starting address of the interrupt service routine. So it is founded by using the formula IP is equal to n into 4 and CS is equal to n into 4 plus 2. Okay. So let's see an example here. N is equal to 2. So here, so IP is available in 008 and CS is available in 00A. So, hello students, are you sleeping or are you listening to the class? Monish D. Okay. Swati. Okay. So that's all about the centers, right? So that's all with this. So this is the first unit. So we have completed this. Only three topics, two topics are remaining. That is assembler directives and modular programming. Okay. So 24th, we are having the quiz evening 4 to 4:20. So 20 questions will be ARC MCQ type questions. So the portion for this is portion will be from this three parts. Okay. Subhashini. Subhashini.
Hello, ma'am.
Can we,
Ma'am, tell me,
what are
ma'am.
the portion for the first quiz, ma, for the MCQ first quiz? What we can have introduction to 8086 architecture, addressing
Ma'am,
modes. Is it okay? Instructions are also. That's it.
architecture addressing
Okay.
modes, ma'am. Ma'am, in the instruction set, we will include the first two, ma'am.
Okay,
At least
okay.
data transfer
Okay.
instructions.
Okay, so students, listen here. So 24th, 4th, we are
Okay,
having the
ma'am.
MCQ for microprocessor subject. So the topics will be introduction to 8086, microprocessor architecture, addressing modes, and the first part, data transfer instructions from the instruction set. So 20 questions will be asked. You have to answer that, okay? So prepare well. So all the notes are available in the classroom itself. Go through the notes, and I hope so all are taking the notes also. So you're having a separate note and you're taking the notes. Am I right, students? Okay. So because of the network problem only, I have removed all the animations from my slides, so that only the direct slide will be available. Okay, don't worry. So the remaining assembler directives and the modular programming will be handled by Kalyan Kumar. Okay. So 4 o'clock students, 4 o'clock. Technology. Hello. Students, are you able to understand? So actually, we have the emulator also, but in your practical, you'll be having a 8086 processor kit. So in that only you have to type all the programs. Am I right, Subhashini? We have the
Yes,
kit
ma'am.
here in your labs.
At last, we will do the programs by using MASM software, ma'am.
Oh, which software?
MASM.
Okay, you could please you type it that in the chat box. So one of the student is putting a question there. In which emulator should we practice all these assembly languages?
Okay,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. We'll put that in the type box. Okay, students. So in this week itself, we'll be completing the first unit. So next second unit will be starting the next week, right? If you have any doubts, you can call me at any time. I think you know my number also. So I'll be clearing. You can discuss with your other faculty also, Subhashini and Kalyan Kumar from EC department.